In Star Wars, it's common knowledge that Yoda trains Luke, but what if things were different? What if Ahsoka trains Luke? Would he still survive the confrontation with Palpatine? Would the sequel trilogy contain a better villain? Not till the end to find out. The War in the Stars has entered a cold, uncertain stage. The Empire's grip was firm, but its hold on the fringes of the galaxy was fraying. In the distant moons of the Outer Rim, a lone figure waited, a Togruta woman in white, her montrails silhouetted against the soft light of a dying sun. She had been many things: Jedi Padawan, soldier, fugitive, spy, and warrior. Never master. Ahsoka Tano listened to the static hum of a decades-old Jedi distress signal, one she had activated after her return from Malachor. Years had passed since she had last ignited her blades in earnest. The friends of her youth were gone. Ezra Bridger was lost in the void with Thrawn. Her and Sabine were searching for him. Ahsoka had chosen a different path, to find anyone who might still carry the spark of the Jedi. An unfamiliar voice cut through the static. Luke Skywalker had just left the frozen wasteland of Hoth. His X-Wing was bound for Dagobah, hazing the cryptic instructions of an old ghost named Obi-Wan Kenobi. But R2-D2 had detected something, an encrypted transmission, ancient in format. R2, can you trace it? Luke asked. Moments later, he descended onto a remote moon wrapped in mist. Waiting for him was a Togruta, tall, poised, and silent. She studied him as though seeing a ghost. You have your father's eyes, she said at last. You knew him? Luke's heart pounded. I did, Ahsoka replied. And if you're on the path I think you are, you're going to need more than Yoda's wisdom. You'll need to survive long enough to use it. For weeks Luke remained on the moon, learning under Ahsoka's watch. She was not like Obi-Wan had been on the Falcon. She didn't speak in riddles, and she didn't shield him from uncomfortable truth. She never told him about the fate of his father. She drilled him in precision, Makashi, the art of measured strikes, Sarisu, the form of defense. He learned to move without reckless leaps, with the patience of a predator. She spoke of the Clone Wars, the galaxy before the Empire, and the dangers of fear and attachment. Not because attachment was forbidden, just because it would be weaponized. When Luke departed for Dagobah, he carried more than a dream of being a Jedi. He carried the beginnings of a mastery. On Dagobah, Luke was surprised, almost annoyed, to find Luke already wielding his saber with confidence. Luke's training with Yoda was shorter and more focused. When visions of Han and Leia and pain filled his mind, he did leave, with Ahsoka's voice in his memory. If you face him, don't fight to win, fight to endure. On Bespin, Luke met Vader in the carbon chamber. This time, the duel was not a desperate scramble. Luke's defense held for longer, his strikes precise. Twice he forced Vader to step back, but Vader was still the master. A slash took Luke's hand, and the Dark Lord spoke the words that shattered him. I am your father. Lucas barely escaped, and when the Falcon retrieved him, he could not shake the feeling that Ahsoka had known. Or ABY. The second lesson. In the months that followed, Luke reunited with Ahsoka. The truth about Anakin Skywalker spilled between them like bitter water. She admitted she'd fought Vader once and had failed to save him. Then you know he can't be redeemed, Luke said. Ahsoka's eyes were steady. No, I know someone can fall, but he also knows sometimes they find their way back. Between missions for the rebellion, she pushed him harder, not just in combat, but in resisting anger and manipulation. When the call came to strike at Endor, Ahsoka joined the fleet, coordinating the starfighter assault while Luke walked into the jaws of the Emperor. In the throne room, Luke stood before Palpatine with a calm the old Sith hadn't expected. Every goad, every sneer, every threat met a wall of quiet defiance. Only when Vader threatened Leia did Luke falter. Even then, the rage burned for moments before cooling. Vader's redemption still came, but Ahsoka felt it. Across the stars, she felt Anakin Skywalker return in his final breath. After Endor, Luke and Ahsoka refused to rush into rebuilding the Jedi. Instead, they hunted down Imperial warlords and Sith Eternal cultists, dismantling the foundation of what one day would become the Sith Eternal. Hera and Sabine's search for Ezra dragged on, but their travels built a network of Outer Rim alliances the Republic would later depend on. Leia trained in the Force part-time under Luke and Ahsoka, balancing it with her political role. Rumors of Thrawn's survival reached them in 7 ABY. Ahsoka recognized the danger immediately. Thrawn was a tactician who could outthink entire fleets. They began taking apprentices at last, not dozens, but a small handful, each taught to stand alone if needed. Among them was Ben Solo, fiery but loyal. Under Ahsoka's guidance, his temper became a tool, not a liability. Snoke's whispers in the dark found no purchase. Together, Luke and Ahsoka ventured into the unknown regions, where they found cloning facilities tied to the remembrance of Palpatine's followers. One by one, they destroyed them, setting the Sith Eternal back many years. When Thrawn finally emerged in 10 ABY, he found not a fragile new republic led by an untested Jedi, but a partnership of two warriors. One raised in the crucible of the Clone Wars, the other forged in the fires of a galactic civil war. Ben Solo fought beside them, learning the art of war in the stars and on the ground. For the first time in decades, Ahsoka allowed herself to hope. The galaxy had changed in the 2 decades since the Battle of Endor. The New Republic thrived, but on the far edge of known space, shadow was gathering. Thrawn had returned, not as a fugitive warlord, but the leader of a vast coalition, imperial remnants, disillusioned Outer Rim worlds, and mysterious allies from beyond the unknown regions. Luke Skywalker was no longer the lone Jedi of his youth. He and Ahsoka had trained a generation of Force-sensitive warriors, not an order, but a network of self-relying knights scattered across the galaxy. Among them was Ben Solo, now a seasoned warrior and commander. When Thrawn's fleet struck deep in the Mid-Rim, Ben led the defense alongside Rey, an orphan from Jakku, whom Luke taken in years before after sensing her remarkable connection to the Force. Thrawn's war was not just of fleets and armies. His aegis began dismantling the Republic from within, sowing distrust between the Senate and the Jedi. In the shadows, a darker truth began to emerge. Thrawn was not acting alone. Somewhere in the unknown regions, an ancient power watched. 25 ABY. The war ground on. Thrawn's precision strike left the Republic reeling, forcing Luke and Ahsoka into opposite ends of the galaxy. Luke's coordinating defense with the Republic fleet, Ahsoka hunting for the source of Thrawn's mysterious reinforcements. Her journey took her to the forgotten Sith strongholds, to abandoned clone facilities, and dead worlds once ruled by the Rakata. There she uncovered fragments of a plan older than the Clone Wars. They're designed by Palpatine to unite the Empire with forces beyond the galaxy. Meanwhile, Ben Solo faced his greatest trial. Captured during a battle, he was brought to a shadowed figure, the Emissary, a dark side adept claiming to serve no Sith, only the will of the unknown. The Emissary tried to turn Ben to the dark side with visions of a galaxy united under absolute order, but Ahsoka's early lessons held firm. Ben resisted, escaping with Rey's help. Victory came at a cost. In a final clash aboard Thrawn's flagship, Ahsoka faced the Grand Admiral himself. Though she had defeated him, his flagship's self-destruct was already engaged. Ahsoka stayed behind to disable it, saving the fleet, but vanishing in the explosion. The galaxy mourned her as a fallen hero, but Luke felt something in the Force. She was gone from the physical world, yet her conscience and presence still lingered. Without Ahsoka, Luke became the unifying center of the Jedi network. Rey rose quickly in skill, blending Luke's steady compassion with Ahsoka's unorthodox methods. Ben, scarred but resolute, commanded the Republic's elite strike force. Thrawn, still alive, regrouped for a final assault. Not on the Republic capital, but on a mysterious world in the unknown regions, Exegol. Luke realized much too late that Thrawn's entire campaign had been a distraction, forcing the galaxy's attention away from this hidden world. On Exegol they found the truth. A vast fleet built over decades, guarded by the remnants of a Sith Eternal. Thrawn's alliance with them was fragile, for he despised their mysticism, but he saw their fleet as the key to victory. The final battle raged in orbit and on the planet's surface. Rey and Ben fought side by side against the emissary, finally severing the last tether of the Sith Eternal's influence. Luke confronted Thrawn in the command chamber of his flagship, not with a lightsaber, but with a choice: retreat and live, or die for a cause that was never his own. Thrawn, ever the pragmatist, surrendered, calculating that survival meant the war could be fought another day. The Republic celebrated, while Luke stood beneath the twin suns of Tatooine, feeling the warmth in the Force. Ahsoka's voice reached him in the wind. "You've kept the fire alive. That's all a master can hope for." In the final state of the galaxy, the Jedi network is decentralized, no temple, no council, just guardians across the stars. The public is paranoid and wary, but stronger, having faced and survived a threat greater than the Empire. Rey is the primary mentor for the next generation, with Ben as her equal partner. In this alternate timeline, they never have set much store in the fact that they're a dyad in the Force. Thrawn vanishes into the unknown regions once more, a reminder that peace is never permanent.